Hello, good evening. It's 10 p.m. in Accra, 11 p.m. in Lagos, and midnight in Cape Town. I'm Stephen Anti. Wherever you're watching us from, we're also streaming live on our Facebook page and on 3news.com, and we're live from the News Hub at Adisawe, Kanda. Let's first start with the major news highlights for the day. The Registrar General's Department has cautioned prospective business registrants against dealing with middlemen. The department now operates an automated system which enables the registration of business in 2 days. More than 80% of electrical cables on the market are fake. A major cause of fire outbreaks in the country. That's according to the Ghana Standards Authority. Admitting to its failure in ensuring safety compliance, the authority says it has begun a market surveillance intended to expose defaulting importers. The Institute of Fiscal Studies says government should consider designing tax policies for the informal sector in the 2018 budget to motivate them pay taxes. Low domestic resource mobilization in the country is said to be the cause of the rising public debt. And the youth wing of the Ejisu branch of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, has described activities by a group calling itself Young Patriots as disrespectful to party structures and also a move to create disunity among party members in the municipality. They expect the party's leadership to call the Young Patriots to order. More than 100 graduates besieged the office of the head of local government services to demand for jobs. The graduates who wanted recruitment as procurement and allied services officers felt disappointed that there were no jobs for them. Those were our major news highlights. Remember, you can hear us live on 3FM 92.7. Up next is the big one. Welcome back. Now, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, has introduced a new driver's license smart card to replace the existing license. The move is to eliminate fake licenses in the system. The new smart card has improved security features which cannot be duplicated. According to the DVLA, the new smart card will capture the biodata and personal information of the applicant. It has a unique design which depicts the culture of the country. Authorities say it will be printing the cards without going through a third party as was done previously. The license will be delivered to applicants within 2 to 4 weeks. The new driver's license will cost 257 Ghana cedis. Right, let's quickly get onto the telephone lines and speak with the GPRTU, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, on the move by the Drivers Vehicle and Licensing Authority, DVLA, to get a new smart car driving licenses. Robert Saba is joining us on the telephone lines now. Good evening, Mr. Saba. We're grateful for your time. So, what agreement ensued between the DVLA and the GPRTU before the authority came out with the increments we're hearing of?
We were invited to a meeting.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir, I can hear you now, yes.
Yes, I said we were invited to a meeting on the 11th of this month, for which, the DVLA explained to us the need to come out with a smart card driver's license and vehicles registration card. That they gave was to eliminate, the properly called voice phone system. They also told us that it would enhance security features in the driving license, which will make it very difficult, for people to fake the driving license. But it is only deserving service that will be issued with the licenses, which will go a long way to minimize carnage on our roads.
And I reckon that this was something that you found good, and you are in agreement, considering that your members actually constitute a large population of drivers in this country.
So that is so.
Right, so moving forward, how are you sensitizing your members to have a better appreciation of the new processes that they may have to follow? I'm not sure. We'll be speaking with the DVLA shortly to get to find out whether there are new processes. But I reckon that the drivers need to get a better understanding of where we're moving to from the usual card driving licenses to a smart card.
Yes, you are right. But, the Director of Operations, I think C.W. Musa, yes, assured us that we're moving from media house to media house to sensitize or educate the public on the need for, these new driver's licenses. What we intend to do after this education, then we also take up from there. Currently, I am not aware that he has completed with his education.
Right. Mr. Saba, we're grateful for your time. Thank you very much. Robert Saba is the Vice Chairman of the GPRTU, Ghana Private Road Transport Union. Let's now quickly get into the studio now and speak with the DVLA Director of Driver Training, Testing and Licenses, Che Wiena Musa is here, is the Deputy. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much.
Good evening.
I hope I got your name.
No, you got it wrong.
Wrong. Yeah. Okay, so...
I'm actually the Deputy Director.
Okay.
Kafui Semevo.
Kafui Semevo. Sorry, we were expecting the director himself. So
yeah.
Thank you very much for coming. So tell me what necessitated this move by the DVLA. I mean, you saw that I carried with me my driving license. What happened was that I lost the original one and I went through the process again. I always have a problem having to go through the biodata capture again to get this. This were expired sometime and I'm supposed to get a new one. I don't have the new one. So tell me what necessitated the move to depart from this method to the new one.
All right, thank you very much. So you will recall that the existing license was issued first in 2007. Down the line, it's about 10 years ago. Now this license is a computerized license, and the technology that was used 10 years ago is outdated at the moment. Once we continue to use that technology,
you incur more costs.
Exactly, and we're going to also have people issuing fake licenses.
So what technology is that? Let's get a better understanding.
So the current technology we are using did not afford us the opportunity to interface our processes.
Okay.
Yes, so the new technology, we are going to interface the processes. What it does is that it's taking away the human interference, is reducing the human interference, and therefore more credible driver data is going to be created. And we will now going to be sure that those who are in the are listed in the database are actually people deserving to hold
and
the
who
driver's
are driving.
license. Yeah.
So, for example, I don't have to go and take my biodata every time I lose a driving license.
Not at all.
Because the data you will have captured now in this new method would have been reliable, and wouldn't need me to take a new one each time that I lose a driving license.
Just do a reproduction.
Interesting. And then obviously I reckon that will come at a fee. But how does this new driving license now eliminate the challenge of Goro boys?
All right. So once the system remains standalone systems, then people are able to manipulate the system. But in the new system, we are looking beyond the human interference. We are letting the systems talk to each other. So an example is that we are interfacing the theory test, for instance, with the new capture system. What that brings is that if you do not pass the theory test, you do not get to be captured for a new license. It means that today, if anybody can skip the theory test and get a license in the new regime, that will not happen. It means that everybody who is applying to obtain a license, the person's competencies and skills will be tested, and we are sure that that person has passed the test before the license is issued.
Interesting. So this gives no room for Goro boys.
Because then the system itself has some checks on its own, and we are also going a step further to make sure that every user of the system has its own login credentials. So then anything you do on the system can be monitored. You can be held responsible for.
Traced to you. So your officials, each of your officials will have unique login, and then they will be monitored as and when they do what. So will this still mean that the DVLA will be centralized? Because I'm asking these questions because as a driver, I've had challenges going to Wager, for example, to renew my license, and they tell me, no, your data is in 37, would you go there? So will this new system create a network where people everywhere can get access to the same data and information and get their license?
Yes, that is going to come with the system, and even goes beyond the DVLA, where the system affords us an opportunity to even interface with other national databases. So beyond the DVLA offices where real-time verification can be made, we are going to make ourselves available for interfacing with the national.
So let's get it right. You're going to take people's data and integrate it with the national ID system. So that you're going to link everybody's card to something else. Yes, you're linking your driving license to your national ID, for example, and your health insurance card, for example. But definitely you will have a different cards for all of these.
All of them,
but they will be linked.
But the data is linked.
But is there a consideration to get just one card which will have your driving license information captured and your health insurance captured, or that will not be cost effective?
That is not what we are introducing now, but maybe in the future that may happen.
Yeah. So let's talk about the cost. How did you arrive at the 257 Ghana cedis amount, and what kind of consultation went into agreeing on this?
All right, so in determining the price, just like we did some years back for our vehicle inspection rates, we engaged the services of an expert to look at the cost of providing this service and what other items go into it. So we are looking at the cost of the equipment itself, and then we are looking at how much we are spending in buying a card. Now, in the existing regime, government provided for the cards, so the public did not pay for the card. In this time, the cost of the card will be borne by the license holder. So those are the things that were taken into consideration in arriving at the cost of the price.
Right. So when is this taking effect?
7th of November 2017.
7th of November. Yeah. So on 7th of November, what do I do with this?
So you already have been captured in the existing system. Now, anybody who has been captured and has not received his license, yes, we are aware of that. We have some backlog. As I speak to you today, we've procured cards to print all those backlogs.
So there's possibly mine is sitting there.
Yes. So yours is still going to be the old one.
Old type.
Yeah. But anybody who comes after the 7th will obtain the new license.
So at what point do I transition from the old one to the new one?
So if this is due for renewal, for instance, and you wish to transition to the new one.
So obviously this is due for renewal.
Yeah, so there are...
So you can have a look.
This was issued in 2017. So the date of the expiring date is actually when? No, this is the date of issue, right? So
Yes.
that the expiring date will be on your actual license. Okay, every 2 years you are supposed to renew this the card that will be given to you. Now the card actually has a lifespan of 6 years. So if you obtain the license, let's say 6th of November, for instance, and then we roll out on the 7th, you can decide to hold it for the next 6 years before you come to replace it. But what will happen is that if you wish after the 7th to submit your license for replacement, we'll still do it. The reason we are doing this is that we want the process to be rush-free. So we want
people
it
will
to be
not be
gradual.
in a hurry to feel
Yeah.
that the old one is out of the system. Thank you very much, Mr. Semavo, and we're grateful for your time. This is still News at 10. We're live from the News Hub at Adesawe. You can also hear us on Radio 3FM 92.7. We have more news for you. Don't go away. Welcome back. Now, more than 80% of electrical cables on the market are fake and a major cause of fire outbreaks in the country. That's according to the Ghana Standards Authority. Admitting to its failure in ensuring safety compliance, the authority says it has begun a market surveillance intended to expose defaulting importers.
In 2016, over 3,000 fire outbreaks were recorded in the first quarter of the year. Data from the National Fire Service indicate a total of 1,897 fires were recorded over the same period this year, representing an 85% reduction. Most of the fires, according to the fire service, were as a result of electrical faults, even though negligence, carelessness and ignorance were also factors. Substandard cables and poor wiring or connections have been a major contributory factor. The Ghana Standards Authority has the mandate to test and certify the quality of cables. We are currently at the electrical cable testing lab of the Ghana Standards Authority. Here, all forms of cables, those that are manufactured locally and imported ones, are supposed to be tested and certified here before they find themselves on our market.
The conductor resistance is a minimum requirement, and 1.5 mm cable should have 12.1 ohm per kilometer. Now, if the copper is very pure, we believe that it will not cause fire when your electrical wiring system are okay, you do not overload your appliance or your terminal. To get a refined copper is expensive, but that is the requirement of the standard. Therefore, if they use a cheap cable, a cheap copper, you are going to get a conductor resistance which is higher than the minimum requirement, and that makes it cheap for them. Unfortunately, Ghanaians want to buy this into the market, and then the unsuspecting public buys, and then they are cheated.
How much of this do we have on our market?
Well, I can say that over 80% of the cables we have in the market are very, very bad.
The Executive Director of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, admits his outfit has not lived up to its mandate.
I think it's a two-way issue. One of them has been that hitherto our market surveillance would have been much less ideal, or it's weak, bluntly.
Currently, what is the key and most important element of measures that you are instituting to ensure that this situation is brought under control?
Within the next 4 weeks, GSA will be publishing to all Ghanaians the results of the market surveillance on the products on the market. We will let Ghanaians know the proportion which are failing, and naturally those which are failing would have to be removed from the market. You cannot let it be sold to anyone.
Consumers need to be empowered to be able to at least identify correct cable that conforms to standards.
We have marking requirements, okay, labeling and marking requirement. The cable should have brand name, country of origin, the standard specification, the size of the cable, the color of the cable. Okay, so manufacturer's name or address should also be there.
Clearly, there is more to be done in ensuring that cables on the market conform to safety standards.
And earlier on News 360, my colleague Alfred Okanse spoke with Kofi Kapito of the Consumer Protection Agency on the fake cables and unwholesome foods on the market.
Have the various agencies at the ports of entry done enough to assure us of consumer safety? Looking at all what we're saying.
Well, looking at what we're seeing, I would say there has been a lapse, serious lapse. It's not just a small lapse. But I'm delighted that at least the Food and Drugs Board is doing their post-market surveillance to make sure that if somebody at the port made a mistake, at least if it gets into the market, they make sure that it doesn't get to our food chain so that it become an issue for us. But the bottom line is it should not leave the ports to come. That's the bottom line.
That's a clear concern.
That's
I mean,
the bottom line.
to the extent that you have both the Ghana Standards Authority and the FDA having their representatives at the various ports of entry, and they are supposed to check.
There are too many agencies at the port that these things should be happening as much as they've been happening. Yes, I would say every now and then if one slips through, I can agree. Because look, if it gets onto the market, say somebody collude or cahoot, and then they bring it onto the market, if they don't do this post-market surveillance, it's going to be more deadly. Can you imagine the trucks? Remember a few weeks ago?
Absolutely.
Some good Samaritans somewhere are here around Ofankor realize that, you know.
And the 500 cartons, this is the same one we were talking about. That's Asahi and So Nice. So Nice 500 has been retrieved on the market in Kumasi. This consignment that was meant for Togo on transit finds its way into Ghana.
You see, my problem is the ones that was found in Kumasi, are they wholesome? If they are, then fine. We cannot say the whole Asani or so fine
nice.
or so nice. But what I'm saying is, yes, do they have good ones on the market? If so, no problem. But we cannot have bad mackerel or bad poultry products on our market. We can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We need to put steps in place. Let's find the people who committed this offense. If the FDA finds out that it was one of the officers who went to sleep on the job, as usual, Ghana, is he going to be fired? I don't know. Other countries, you'll be either demoted or fired on the spot because you cannot play with the health of people. Look, it is interesting. I was a member of a certificating committee at the Standard Authority as a consumer rep. I've been kicked off.
Because of what?
Because I don't know. Because to me, the consumer needs representation in a lot of these institutions.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, but this is the only country. When they talk about stakeholders, they don't even think the consumer or the consumer association is a member or should be considered as a
kicked
stakeholder.
out and no reason was given for your
because
kicked out of that
what
committee.
it was given was they are trying to reconstitute and some international standard blah. And I say, you know what, this is Ghana. Okay, we do things differently. We are a sovereign country. We cannot take everything who can sink because some big boy sitting somewhere tells us to do so. We can find our own way. Look, these electrical appliances.
Absolutely.
After you and I go way back.
True.
Okay, from other life. Alfred, how long was I telling you that electrical appliances especially, go onto our market. Ghana, our code is 3 pin. That includes an earth outlet. Every appliance, check, go to all the high street stores. I can guarantee you 90% of the appliances are 2 pin.
And in other stories, the Northern Regional Police Command has arrested the matron of the Bupe Senior High School in the central Gonja district for allegedly stealing foodstuff belonging to the school. The matron Rahinatu Alidu was arrested together with a driver and the mate of a Sianyong minibus with registration number AW 386413, which was transporting the foodstuff allegedly stolen from the school. The Northern Regional Police Public Relations Officer, ASP Mohammed Yusuf Tanko, told the media the vehicle was intercepted at the Futusu checkpoint. And he said the driver and his mate mentioned the matron of the school as the owner of the goods. Said Rahinato was later arrested and together with the driver and his mate granted police inquiry bail pending further investigations. And that's how we wrap up with news at 10. Thank you very much for making time. I'm Stephen Enti. On behalf of the crew, good night. There is more news at 3news.com.